Hello and welcome to the program. I'm James Zaganix and we are making our way towards the end of the trading session, end of the trading week. Here's the picture as we look towards the weekend. Like ending the week on a somewhat negative note, though the positive being we are off the lows of the session, down just shy of 0.6%, 61.97 at the moment. The banks in particular continue to weigh. Regionally, we are an underperformer. You can see on screen out of Japan, the Nikkei 225 up around about 0.4% at the moment. Also making news this hour.
I want to see Australia grow together, not apart.
Prime Minister Scott Morrison launching a fresh attack on the opposition, accusing Bill Shorten of seeing a country divided. And China's Xi Jinping says he hopes the US and China can continue to make progress on each other's concerns as they conclude trade negotiations. But of course, that we still wait for some sort of a deal. The latest that we heard from the US president overnight was perhaps 4 weeks away or so. We're going to get back to markets in a moment. Firstly, though, for many Australian investors, keeping their eye on the next generation of leaders, many of whom happen to be at the helm of emerging tech companies. But investors have long wondered whether our tech companies are a bargain or a black hole. Well, for more on the emerging sector and what makes a markets-moving tech player, Mobilicom CEO Oren Elkayam joins me at the desk. Oren, thanks very much for your time. Lots to talk about, but let's just start with the business itself. It's actually listed on the ASX a couple of years now, Mobilicom. Just tell us about it. Give us a background.
So Mobilicom started by creating a very innovative technology. We are creating wireless communication that enables mobile platforms like vehicles in mine or ships of oil and gas or first responders to interact between each other with no need of any infrastructure whatsoever.
Just explain that. Why is the significance of not needing any of that background infrastructure, and what are you using instead of that infrastructure?
So, of course, everybody understands that the infrastructure costs a lot of billions of dollars to build and then maintain. If you can operate in areas where there is no infrastructure whatsoever, like in the mines area or offshore, or first responders that want to be capable of doing this communication regardless of any infrastructure, that's a very good advantage. And this is the uniqueness of Mobilicom. The patents and the technology that we created are already implemented by various leading market companies around the world.
And so the mobile network, I mean, is that what's essentially
we are driving it without the mobile towers, without cellular, without satellite. It's an RF solution. Right. You can take it in different words, like it's a walkie-talkie on steroids that enable your broadband connectivity between teams, just thanks to the fact that they have our unit embedded within their platform, vehicle, robot, ship, personnel.
And look, across the spectrum of solution and products, I mean, we're talking about a lot of unmanned vehicles here, aren't we? Sort of drones as well as land-based as well as water-based. Is that right?
True, true. We started with going with that into the government enterprise space. We implemented the technology in several verticals, for example, offshore or anything which is rural. We continued with disaster relief public safety teams that require such technology, or anything which is unmanned platform at sea, air, and on land. Lately, in the recent year and a half, we established another entity under Mobilicom, Skyhopper, that operates and takes the same patents and technology into the commercial space of drones and robotics, which is going to revolutionize the world.
And this one, I understand, is in a partnership with another sort of existing player, just with Skyhopper. Explain, I mean, how you see the usage of that product, that sort of drone technology, in terms of everyday usage.
So those that are following the drones revolution will understand that it's a $120 billion revolution that we're going to change our world in the next decade. It will be bigger than the mobile revolution, and we'll see it in every day of our life. It will keep, people which are old safe in their home and take care of them. It will help people on mining to perform without a lot of workforce. It will help miners or others in industry to operate. So you will see it across all spectrums of industry. Deliveries of Amazon will be done in half an hour instead of 2 days. So any significant portion of our activity will be impacted by this technology.
What about the regulatory issues around the idea of, I know there's testing happening in Canberra, for example, where you have deliveries, meal deliveries and so forth, line of sight from drones, but is there going to be an issue? People talk about Amazon or whoever delivering parcels, but you're just going to have drones sort of buzzing around each other in the air. I imagine there's got to be a regulatory component that sort of mandates that or covers it.
So it's true. The companies like Mobilicom already solve the key technology barriers that can enable us to deploy drone services or robotic services autonomously in different parts of our life. But regulatory bodies that didn't unleash the market yet. It will happen. It probably will happen in the coming year. You see the European Union within the next quarter are going to release their regulatory decision according to drones, how to use them across the entire European Union countries, and going to unify the rules for the entire market. Such decision can make it easier for other drone companies to deploy and scale, and then the usage will be much easier for everybody else.
From an investor's perspective in the company, how critical is that regulatory environment and approvals going to be in terms of then the business success, the investment case for the company? Because it's one thing having the technology and having the potential of what it can do versus actually the reality of it being allowed to do that.
Great question. So for our company, the Mobilicom, we have two sections. One is going to communication without infrastructure for mission critical application.
Which is
happening right now. Yeah. We are scaling. We just managed to increase our sales in 75% from year over year. We are going to grow significantly in the coming year in 2019. Current customers like ExxonMobil, NTNT, and such big customers are already ramping up their sales, so that will be fine. In addition, we have another growth strategy which is based on the commercial sector. So we have two foot on the ground. One is government enterprise, and the other one is commercial solutions for drones and robotics.
And looking into the future, where do you see, what do you see the earnings split? Does one market hold greater potential than the other? Or, how do you view the both
I think that when you are looking on government enterprise market, you can enjoy very steady growth over a long time, and it's a very good for times of crisis, and you can maintain balance.
Steady income.
Definitely, it's a sticky business for 10 years, and the commercial can enjoy very steep rise in a very short time. This is the commercial drones and robotics. We are already embedded within 52 drone manufacturers worldwide as an OEM that shows us. Among them, you can see Airbus, which is one of the biggest aviation companies, or Unique, which is second largest drone manufacturers in the world. So we already entrenched in the biggest players in the market with our solutions.
I've got to ask, we're looking at the chart at the moment, but listed in Australia, Israeli company. Why? Why the ASX?
It's a great question. We have been approached by the ASX that are trying to build bigger portion of the tech companies over here in Australia. We anyway have a lot of activity in the Asian Pacific market across all nations over here. So we are here all the time anyway. And we see that as a very good opportunity because Australian can be our closest operation to the markets that we are having in Asia Pacific.
All right, Oren, it's been fascinating. Thanks so much for coming on this afternoon. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.